Getting started. This section describes starting well and informing your audience of the presentation overall structure and the style of interaction you would prefer, and also focusing on delivering your message and avoiding self-analysis during your presentation. So, you need to remember to calm last-minute nerves by deepen your breath and hold eye contact with 2 to 3 people of the audience each 3 to 4 seconds, then start. And you remember the breath technique. Focus on the message firmly this time, but this does not mean the body language, eye contact, and interaction with your audience are not important. And also, don't assess your performance during the presentation, since the human mind can only cope with one major task at a time. So, for getting started, first of all, you need to introduce yourself by providing your name, your position, and background. And the purpose of that is to build credibility with your audience. Next, you need to introduce your presentation, the time, the structure, and your protocol of planning giving the presentation. This will give an idea for the audience when to ask and the attention time. Last but not least is you need to start confidently and as if you are speaking to your audience as if you were chatting to your friends. This is the good start. The purpose of that to engage your audience, and part of the engagement is to make eye contact with all. Start by asking a question. So in summary, introduce yourself, introduce your presentation, and start confidently. And very important to engage your audience by starting by asking a question. To highlight on the last part of getting started well, let's answer this question. After start of your presentation, would you consider opening with a grabber statement that is saying something like, I'm about to tell you how our sales force can deliver 30% more orders in order to grab the attention and interest of your audience in. So do you agree with this grabber statement or not? For sure, because grabber statements can have a profound effect on an audience and can retain their interest in expectation of what you are going to tell them. You should never use an opening grabbing statement that is hollow. For example, I am about to demonstrate the competitive advantage of equipping the sales force with computers. So this does not have a right effect or an impact on the audience. Also, you need to consider the size of the audience and the formality, because this will influence your presentation style. So, for example, for your small formal presentation, like committee meetings, sales pitches, and interdepartmental meeting, you need to maintain eye contact at all the time. But for the informal ones, for the small informal presentation, like briefing your colleagues on work to be done, interacting via soliciting questions, and letting individuals making meaningful but brief contribution. So the purpose is to make them more involved by giving them more questions. But for large formal presentation like conference or in corporate meeting like the annual general meetings, check the audience can hear and see clearly, and clear summing up by repeating your main points, because that is your conclusion. But for the same large but informal, not formal presentation, although this could happen on rare occasion, but if asked in a conference to give a short talk, so speak slowly, keep your message simple with good enunciation. We come to the end of this section. So, fill in the blank as usual. We have 5 words to start with the first sentence. Once you begin your presentation, it is important to focus on delivering your, what's that? Message. And avoid what? Analyzing your performance. And a good introduction will help to establish your credibility and will give your audience a clear what? Expectation of what you are about to tell them. Your introduction should inform your audience of the overall structure of your presentation and the style of audience interaction you prefer. The style that you adopt should be influenced by the size of your audience and the level of, yes, formality that is appropriate. Thank you. We come to the end of this section.